Hello.
Okay. Hello.
Okay.
So
Hello.
I'm so happy. I'm with my beloved mentor, teacher. Like you're just, I will be all gushy if I start talking about how much I love you. I'm so happy that I'm able to introduce you. I've been wanting to introduce you for so long to the women. I mean, many of the women I work with already know you from our moon P40 that we did together, but then there's been new people who've come into my life that need to meet you. So I said, I've got to have Katy on for an interview. And also I'm so excited about your upcoming course. So I wanted to share it with people because I think the teachings you're doing are so important, especially for right now, what we're going through. And
Yes.
And I feel you can articulate it the best, what you're teaching. And also, I just want people to see your essence, and you don't get it unless you actually are with you. Like it's just such a gift always just to be in your presence. So,
Oh, darling. Well, the whole burden of my song really is that, we are divine beings. And here I am at the pyramids of Egypt, right in front of the pyramids, in their presence all day long, looking at these incredible structures, these mathematically perfect divine structures that were made by people. People made them. Now that's what excites me more than anything else, because they are of a perfection of design and engineering, with people that didn't have iron tools, that didn't even have wheels. And those pyramids are there to show that we are divine beings. And we are. And now, more, as you said, more than any other time in history, more than any other time in history, known history, here we are on the brink of a huge shift, where when we are able to get in harmony with one another and the animal kingdoms, we can achieve the illumined realms. We are divine beings. We are, when we focus on the goddess within, we manifest the goddess. And we're such an amazing species. Once we connect with that divinity that's in us, we will be able to, we are on the brink of the illumined realms. And so we need to get in harmony with each other. And the ancient teachings are coming forth more valid than ever before. So I've been, spending my life, the last 25 years I've been here at the pyramids, just totally immersing myself in the ancient teachings and discovering more and being able to translate them for people today to be able to benefit from. And so this course, it's a departure for me. It's an absolute departure for me doing techno, but it's time, and I'm getting my head around it, and I want to reach as many people as possible and allow them to find, the goddess within, which men and women. I believe that we're on the brink of a new matriarchy. This doesn't mean, of course, that men won't be in, positions of authority. Of course it does, but of course it doesn't. But it does mean that the feminine principles, the divine feminine principles, will prevail over the masculine ones, traditionally masculine ones. So both men and women, we both need, all of us need to find that inner divine principle and understand how it operates and how to integrate our subtle bodies in alignment with the Egyptian teachings, the Egyptian mystery teachings from the temple, which are now available to us all. So,
and we should give a little background about you, because I realized I just kind of like threw you right in. So, yeah, wait, we'll just back up a little just for people who don't know you. Like, first of all, that you're living in Cairo, right on outside.
Yes. Well, I wonder if I can show you.
Okay.
I hope with the signal. I'm just going to come out my door here in my temple, and with my cat. There's my beautiful sheep, Rashida, my temple sheep. I'm just going to come out and show you where I am, and I hope we keep this in.
Oh my God! Look at that. That's surreal. That's surreal. We just got darshan of the pyramids. I love it.
Okay. Well, I didn't want to lose the signal. I won't linger, but just to show you where I am
Oh, thank you.
and where I belong. And
You do belong there. I mean, you're living
okay.
a magic.
So
Yeah.
yes, well, I'm married to Mr. Hisham. He's Egyptian. I've been happily married to him for the last 23, 24 years. And I was propelled here 24 years ago. I didn't even know why I was coming. You know, I was utterly propelled here. And by a very mystical experience I had in the Egyptian room of the British Museum and awakened to the power of the goddess Sekhmet. Was having an emotional crisis at the time, and usually these things happen, you know, after an emotional crisis. But within weeks, I found myself here, thinking, "Why? What is this? What am I meant to be doing?" And then I realised that I would have to bring a group here and work on the Egyptian mysteries, bringing them here, and that's really what I did. And then I met Mr. Hisham, and we fell in love, and there you go. I've been here ever since, and I brought up a lot of children here and helped a lot of children. And now I'm here with all my beloved animals, and the children have grown. The children are at university. And I've accomplished a couple of magnum opuses, magnum opus, in that time on the mysteries, and just developed my teaching and my relationship, you know, to the Egyptian consciousness and pantheon, which is more valid even now than ever it was before. I think I feel that Egypt is undergoing a renaissance, and I feel that there is real need now collectively for people to understand about their subtle bodies and how to harness their inner divine powers in order to create harmony in the world and effect miracles. I mean, pyramids are miraculous. And certainly miracles have happened to me. So I can speak with authority about miracles because they do happen. But I suppose for a start you have to believe in them. But you have to be aware, I mean, really, the reason they were able to effect these miracles, I think I would put it down to two basic principles. One of them is the principle of calibration.
Yes,
Calibration.
I love this word. I always associate this word.
Yeah.
I have to say, tell us about.
Yes, calibration. Maybe I'll come to that in a moment. Perhaps the first principle is that of integration. Now, the Egyptians were able to manifest their divine powers because they were integrated with them. They knew they had them, they knew how to access them, but they also knew how to integrate them with their earthly powers. So, and having been able to integrate them, and I'll talk about that a bit more in a minute, integration and then calibration. Calibration means that when you find that integrative process, you're so sort of finely balanced in the moment, in the present moment, that your heart, which is your, in Egyptian terminology, your heart soul, which is where your whole self-knowledge lives, your self-knowledge is as light as the feather of truth. So you will see on the Egyptian papyrus and paintings this weighing of the heart, which is the initiate has the heart in the canopic jar weighed against the feather of truth. And when it is as light as the feather of truth, as light as the feather of truth, in that one living moment, that perfect calibration takes place, and you are in paradise. This earthly realm, this wonderful, beautiful, divinely various, magical, wonderful planet, this world that we live in, this material existence, when you're calibrated with your other levels, when you're calibrated, integrated with your other levels and calibrated in that divine moment of choosing, it is paradise. Paradise is here. It's not some distant realm in the hereafter where the righteous go, you know, after a sort of miserable existence in this veil of tears. No, it's not that. This is paradise. When you're calibrated, when your divine levels, which indeed you have, and when you're conscious of them and informed by them and can bring them into earthly existence, then this is the most magical and wonderful place you can be. The body, material realm is the most sacred place there is. So that's why they that's why they carved food and things and earthly things on the walls of their tombs, because when you're in the other realms, you haven't got food and you haven't got smells and you haven't got flesh and you haven't got the earthly, the sensual experience, which of course, when you've got it right, you know, it is heaven. Yeah. And on the other realms, you haven't got that. Here, you have got the heavenly realms, but in the heavenly realms, you haven't got the earthly realms. So this is the reason, you know, for incarnation, is to find that place of paradise here, now, on earth, with each other. Now that's not an easy thing to do if you're not aware of the other realms, and certainly if you're not calibrated, but it can be done, and it can be done beautifully. It's a practice. The Egyptian consciousness is a practice, but it just really requires appreciation and consciousness. It's got a very beautiful aesthetic. I think that's probably why I love it so much. It's very beautiful. And so I'm going to talk about the aspects of the goddess. We'll start with the goddess. Of course, there are also all the goddesses are married.
All the goddesses what?
Are married. They're all happily married.
Yeah.
They're all happily married. They've all got husbands. You know, they've all got their divine counterparts on the outer realms. So we start with the goddess. We start with the 5 aspects of the goddess, and then later on, you know, we connect them to their spouses. We create that sacred marriage within ourselves, from our earthly existence to our outer existence through sacred marriage, and that's a process, a practice. But from the earthly levels, we'll start with the 5 aspects of the goddess, which are available to all of us, and we relate them to our 5 subtle bodies. So there are 5. There's 5 yous. There's not just one. You've got your physical body. You've got your astral body, your personality, your astral thought form of you, which is created by you. I'll go into that in greater length in a minute. Then you've got your heart soul. That's eternal. Your physical body and your astral body are not eternal. They're ephemeral. You get a different one every time. And actually, you can change your astral thought form of yourself through magical process. But you can strengthen it and magnetize it through positive thoughts of yourself. But anyway, that's your astral personality, how you're remembered, how you're thought of, how people perceive you, your persona. That's then there's as I've said, your third subtle body, which is your heart soul. That's your eternal soul. That's always been with you and always will be with you. And that comes every time into incarnation, descending from universal soul consciousness into individual form, into your individual self, into your body, which only you have. So your experience of yourself is completely yours in physical form. On your soul level, your soul only lives to love. It doesn't really know how to do anything else. It lives and it loves and it yearns. It yearns to return. It yearns to remain. It yearns to unite.
Return.
It sings of you.
Which
Your soul.
the soul yearns to return to the source.
Yes, yes, and it yearns to remain as well, and it yearns to unite. It yearns and it loves and it flies, and that's your heart soul. That's you, and that's always you. And your heart soul has a sister, which is your shadow, and that's just as much you as your heart soul, just as much you as your body and your personality. Your shadow is made up of all your resistances, all your reluctances, all your concealments, all the lies you tell yourself. That's your shadow. All your resistance is just as much you, but it loves you. It loves you.
The shadow
And
loves
the brighter you're, yes, it loves you. It's the goddess. Well, I'll talk about the goddess principles and how they relate. Your shadow, and then of course there's that's the fourth, and then you've got your spirit. You've got your divine, magical fragment of divinity, your eternal, magical self, your spirit, which, is your stellar self. It's you as a star. It's your transcendent self. So there's 5 bodies, not one, and every one of them is as valid as the other. So these 5 bodies, which every time you incarnate, you bring all together into your life. And, as an astrologer, you will be able to tell that moment of incarnation, when all of those subtle bodies come together with a pattern to them in order to realize yourself through love in this lifetime and redress the wrongs of your past, or the wrongs that you perpetrated on yourself from the past. So you know about that, and that's in astrology, and that's in the Egyptians, of course, who were very attuned to the stars, who understood the stellar patterns without telescopes, astonishingly well. They were able to commune with the stars. They were informed by the stars. They had stellar knowledge before, Ptolemy, before the Greeks. Extraordinary stellar knowledge. They understood, for example, that the Nile inundated when Sirius was prominent in the sky. They understood the stellar influences more than the planetary ones, actually.
more than the what?
Planetary ones. They really understood the influences of the constellations. In fact, where we are here, the 3 pyramids align to the 3 stars on Orion's belt. And here, where we sit, where I'm sitting talking to you, I am right below the portal, which is the middle star on Orion's belt. That's the portal that releases all this wonderful kind of divine stellar knowledge that comes through for me and for you too, for you. But this is, a lovely place for it to come from. So the 5 bodies, And I'll tell you the names of these bodies. We talk about them a bit more in depth.
In your course, you're
The
also like this is part
of course, yeah, on the course I will be talking about them, but I will tell you their names now. They're called Alfu. That's the physical body, Alfu. Your spiritual body is called Ku, Khu, Ku. Your shadow is called Kaibit. Your soul is called Ba. And I love that particularly because I'm absolutely devoted to this person here.
Ba. I knew she was coming in.
There's a person here. Can you see her?
Yes, Rashida.
There she is. There's Rashida. And Rashida, all she says is Ba.
Oh.
Says, look, she's looking at me. She's got her head up. Ba. She's total soul. That's what she is. She's just a living soul.
Ba kind of sounds like ma in India. Say ma.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So cute. I love it.
Ba. And that's your heart soul. That's the thing that's weighed against the feather of truth. In the halls of judgment. And then your astral body, which is probably about elbow width away from your physical body, in exact alignment and perfect shape of your physical body. It's a shimmering force field of energy which protects your physical body and magnetizes. So it's a protective magnetic force field. It magnetizes what you need for your bar, for your heart's realization, for the realization of your eternal and deeper truths. And it protects the space around your physical body. So it's a magnetic protective force field. And the more dynamic it is, the better it works. And it derives from your thoughts, your mental self, your ideas and thoughts of yourself proceeding from your heart's truth and creating this lovely force field of strength to give you a truthful, magnetic, vibrant personality and also a protective force field that what doesn't serve your heart's truth will be repelled by you. And what does serve your heart's truth will be magnetized to you. So that's a magical process to strengthen the car. There's an awful lot in the ancient texts about the car. But it was the bar that was weighed against the feather.
The bar was weighed against the feather.
Yeah, that's your eternal self-knowledge. That's always with you. And the Ku, that's your divine stellar self, what some people call the light body. That's your Ku. And then there's your shadow, your Kaibit, which works in harmony with your soul. It's the beloved sister of your soul. It's the goddess Isis and Nephthys. It's the duality of light and shadow that, gives you depth and power and truth and allows you, as the two queens unite in love to gather up the dismembered pieces of their beloved Lord. The duality, the dyad of these sisters in your life, your soul and your shadow working together, allows you to rule your life. The land of Egypt, meaning material existence, going through all the sorrows and the trials, that everybody has to go through in life, but doing it with consciousness and doing it with love and doing it with truth. And this puts you in the eternal realms, and brings the eternal realms, the illumined realms, into this wonderful existence that we all are so privileged to share in this incredible time that we live in.
Yes,
so it's all there in the midst.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, can I interview you a little bit now? I don't want to
yes, please
interrupt you, but we can do the second part. I want to ask you questions.
Us
Well, people got like a sense
fire.
of how you teach, which is beautiful. And now I want to ask you things so that people can get
Yes.
to know you a little bit, because I think
Okay.
it helps
Yeah.
when people get to know your story and just all the magical things you do, because you're just one of the most incredible tarot readers. And I don't know how much you're infusing this into your course, but how did you get interested in the tarot? Like, how did
In the tarot.
yeah.
Well, the tarot's really always been with me. You know, I come from a Romany background. My great grandmother was a Romany gypsy woman, Maggie Mullen from Mullingar, in Westmeath in Ireland, and my grandmother read the tea leaves, my mother's mother, and my mother read the cards. So people used to come to the back door and knock on the back door and get readings from my mother, and she used to read the ordinary playing cards. But then I was given a pack of tarot cards in my 20s, and I immediately started working with them. Immediately started doing readings.
Amazing.
And but I was too young, really, and I got terrible headaches. And you know, I was working in a very sort of psychic way rather than understanding the doctrine behind the cards. And although I did readings, I gave it up for a while and focused on my work as an actor. And
You're an actor.
decided,
Yeah.
yes, I was an actor. I was an actor for in the theatre in England and abroad, but in London and the provinces in the theatre. And there was time, you know, to study, because when you're an actor, you don't act all the time. You know, you have time off resting, they call it. So I was able to sort of study and do readings, understand, you know, the real doctrine behind the cards, and read and the psychology involved.
Yeah, that you
I was able to
your background in the
yeah.
the psychology with the tarot.
Yes. Now, my background in the theatre was very, very helpful in understanding the emotional relationship to the tarot, because every one of those cards, you know, has an emotional place. If you think of your emotional system as an instrument, which is how you have to do is when you're a trained actor, you can locate these feelings inside you. You know, for example, a director might say, well, that's nice, but I'd like a little bit more sort of embarrassment in that, please. So you'd have to find where your embarrassment lived, for example. So learning to work with the cards and subsequently, you know, to teach the tarot as a sort of system of personal psychic and psychological understanding. When you understand where these energies in the cards, they are perfectly designed, you know, they're a wonderful structure. And understanding the structure and understanding that this structure lives within you, and then you can locate those energies, you know where they live. You know where the gods live within you, because the major arcana, the archetypes, they're divine forces that live within us.
Yes.
And we can locate them and we can access them and we can develop them.
Yes.
So my work with the tarot sort of led me to my work with the Egyptian mysteries, although I was very lucky in as much as my mother was a bit of a gypsy pagan, you know, and she always loved the Egyptian gods. She had a real relationship to Sekhmet, which subsequently I had. But
she had a relationship to what? Did you say?
To Sekhmet. To Sekhmet.
She did.
To Sekhmet.
You don't like the
lion.
To Sekhmet?
No. Subsequently, I came into Sekhmet. When I was young, I was more attuned, you know, Isis. But my mother had a relationship to Sekhmet. She was a Leo, so she loved the lioness goddess.
Oh, no wonder. Okay.
But to get back to tarot, yes, you know, the divine principles that are there, you know, depicted in the tarot, they live in all of us. And this, you know, brings me back, you know, to my point of the goddess is you. You know, that the mystery teachings of the Egyptian goddess are now available, you know, for you to find your own divinity and develop it and express it, you know, and bring this kind of wonderful new civilization into being that we are teetering on the brink of.
Yes.
I saw this sort of coming.
You did?
Yeah, well, I didn't see the pandemic. Of course I didn't. But it was the summer solstice the year before last, it's a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting here looking out at the pyramids, and I just had this vision that we were on the brink of illumined realms, and I could see that what we were going to be capable of, and that we would be in incredible harmony with the animal kingdom. We would be able to, I don't want to sound nutty here, but because this was a vision, but it was a vision, and I was aware, you know, to be able to transport ourselves, to be able to go anywhere we wanted to go. Once we didn't want to go anywhere where we weren't welcome. Once we lost the desire to invade and only wanted to come from a perspective of interest and harmony. We're going to be able to go anywhere we want to go. As a species, you know, we will be able to do that. But first of all, you know, we've got to get into.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, ask me some more questions because I'm going off on one.
No, it's okay. No, I was saying that's a beautiful point about, you know, the difference between going where we're invited versus invading, and like learning to not just constantly trample on everything the way we had been, you know, and to come into harmony with that.
You see, we're global now. You know, that's what the pandemic is teaching us. You know, I saw this and I thought, my God, we're on the brink of something incredible. And I was just over 70. I thought, well, I'm never going to be able to see it. And it was going, but you will be. This is going to happen in the foreseeable.
Yeah.
We're on the brink of it.
So fast.
You probably will see it. Well, then the pandemic happened. Now, the thing about the pandemic is that it's showing us that we are global.
Yes.
This is happening everywhere. There's no escape from it. We're all in this together.
Interconnected.
And therefore, it's, you know, wars, boundaries, borders, it's all nonsense. You know, we're global. We don't want to sort of have wars and fight over our boundaries. This is mine and I've got to protect the homeland and the women folk. No, that's over. We've gone beyond that.
Although now, there's more people, like now it's like you can travel here because you're going to bring the virus, you can't come there.
Yes, I know, but of course that's obviously the immediate reaction to it.
Yeah.
But
you see it as like the long run, it's about
the old thinking. You know, it's still the old thinking, but who really, with any real consciousness, listens to the leaders? Who listens to them now?
Good point.
We're only going to achieve this illumined realms from self-sovereignty. And that's what's lying at the core and basis of the Egyptian myths. They are teaching you self-sovereignty, you know, how to find this paradise on earth and rule it from the perspective of your own heart's truth. That's how they achieved a civilization that lasted for millennia and still has relevance, because it was based on the rule of Ma'at. Now, the rule of Ma'at is that the heart as light as the feather of truth. And that's the rule of Ma'at. Ma'at was the goddess of truth and justice, and her symbol was a feather. And that's where you find that calibration in your heart. You find that sweet spot where you get it right. And it just opens, that getting it right is as light as a feather. It's been the most exciting thing for me getting old, is the fact that you get it, you learn how to get it right. In the moment, every moment.
I hope that your Libra symbol is like you have Ma'at rising.
Yes, probably do, yes.
Smart.
The scales, yes, the scales. But, you know, I've also got a great
That's
big
the
fixed
justice
cross.
archetype in the tarot. Do you equate Mott with the justice archetype in the tarot?
Mm.
Feel they're connected.
I missed that. What was that?
Do you equate Mott with justice in the tarot?
Yes, of course. Yes, Mark. I think that was, yeah. Libra, the sort of, the idea of Mart, yes. The goddess of truth and justice. And she bows down before love.
She bows down before
She
love.
bows down before love, yes. Which is lovely because, you know, Libra is ruled by the goddess of love, isn't she? Is ruled by Venus.
And Saturn is
So I think,
in Libra.
yeah, and Saturn, of course, is exalted. But yeah, so the goddess of love and beauty in the Egyptian pantheon is my ruling deity, is the goddess. Let me show you her on my gold ring, and I've got her here on my, there she is, the goddess Hathor.
Oh, yes.
She's the goddess of beauty. She is the goddess as woman. She is the goddess as human being. She is the goddess within all of us, human beings. She's a human aspect. And my teaching, my system, based on the sacred pentagram, allows you to manifest that divine humanity in your life and create this paradise. Find it, access it, and create it, because, you know, really, we are all self-generated, self-created. You know, we are, and self-judged. So you might as well get it right. You know, the Egyptian gods, the god force, not interested in issuing out punishments and rewards like some of the more gross deities. No, the sense of deity in the Egyptian consciousness is to get it right. Is to get it right.
Get it right.
No, there's not a question of punishment. It's a question of you meeting the lesson until you've attuned to it, and then you use the experience to keep your heart as light as the feather in a living moment. And that's where paradise is, and that's where divinity. Yeah.
That's a beautiful note to end on, actually. That's like full circle.
Okay.
I feel like you really just captured it so beautifully. Unless there's anything else you want to share.
No, I don't think that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when is it? Well, it starts on the 16th this month. Okay. It's going on for 6 Sundays. It'll be recorded, so, you know, if you subscribe to it, it doesn't have to be. It's going to be 4:30 in the afternoon in Egypt on the Sunday, starting the 16th. It costs. It's not expensive. It costs about $40 a week, I think, something like that. It's £180. Anyway, the price is on there. I'm not quite sure what that would be.
It's a very good deal to study with you.
It's a good price. Good price, yes, because I want to reach as many people as possible, and I think it's really important, you know, that this message goes out.
Right now.
Yes. So anyway, it starts in a couple of weeks. So we've got a couple of weeks to think about it and get it registered.
Great.
And it'll be about an hour and a half, something like that. And if you want private questions with me, you can just arrange that. That's only going to cost you about $40 for about 20, 30 minutes with me to answer your questions and maybe have a look at your tarot and see how, you know, you're getting on with your life, and to relate it personally to your life. You can book a half an hour with me to talk about things.
With you too, right? Are you still doing readings?
I'm still doing readings, so if you wanted to book a reading with me, of course you can.
Many people ask me because they love getting readings with you. So.
And my readings are $75 for about an hour, and for a private tarot reading.
Yeah.
So that's all. At the Pyramids. It's all going out live at the Pyramids.
What's better
And
people don't believe me when I
yeah.
yes, my reader in Egypt at the pyramids. I'm like, no, she really is at the pyramids. She's actually reading
Yes, I'm really,
in front, right in
yes,
next to the
and
pyramid.
you can have it on the terrace with the pyramids there, and witnessed by my 14 cats and my and my beautiful
You have
and
14.
my.
I didn't know you had 14.
Well, I think I've got 14 because I've got 2 litters of kittens at the moment.
Oh.
So, 2 on either side of my wardrobe, there's a nursing cat with 3 kittens. So I've got, Hisham doesn't know that. And there's another one pregnant up here, Jezebel.
You're hiding kittens.
Hisham, there's like 12 cats up here. He doesn't know. But anyway, they're all being very discreet about it and very lovely. So, yeah. And by Rashida, my lovely temple sheep. So anyway, it's been lovely talking to you, and thank you so much, for doing this and spreading the word.
Yeah.
And
Sure. Thank you.
bless you, darling. Blessed be.
Blessed.
Shall I leave now?